Before this story ends, you'll feel something shift inside your chest, the kind of feeling that makes you stare at the screen for a second longer, and maybe believe in people again. Red Heart, if stories like this move you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because some voices deserve to be heard, and some stories deserve to change lives. Musical note. The night the world-famous singer Alina Royce came to perform at the Grand Meridian Theatre, the entire city felt electric. Fans had lined up since morning. Cameras flashed. Staff ran like clockwork. It was the biggest event the venue had hosted in years. And somewhere behind all that glamour, quietly mopping the marble floor near the backstage corridor, was Daniel. Most people didn't even notice him. Gray uniform. Old sneakers. Slight limp in his step. A janitor, just part of the background. But Daniel noticed everything. He noticed how the security guards straightened when Alina walked past. How assistants scrambled to meet her demands. How the air itself seemed to bend around her presence. She was stunning. Confident. Untouchable. And exhausted. "What is that noise?" she snapped suddenly, stopping mid-stride. Everyone froze. From down the hallway, a soft humming floated through the air. Low. Warm. Melodic. Alina frowned. "Who's making that sound?" An assistant followed the sound and returned moments later, looking confused. "It's the janitor." Alina's eyebrow lifted. "Bring him." Daniel nearly dropped his mop when they approached him. "Ma'am wants to see you." "Me?" he asked quietly. He wiped his hands nervously on his uniform and limped toward the dressing room, heart pounding. He had spent years learning how not to be seen. Now every eye in the corridor was on him. Inside, Alina sat like a queen on her throne, makeup lights glowing around her. "You were singing," she said flatly. I was just humming, ma'am. Sorry if it disturbed you." "Sing." The word wasn't a request. Daniel swallowed. "I really shouldn't." "I said sing." A few crew members exchanged amused glances. Someone pulled out a phone, already recording. Daniel looked down at the floor. "I don't sing in front of people." Alina smirked. "Why? Afraid?" A ripple of quiet laughter filled the room. Something flickered across Daniel's face. Not anger. Not shame. Something older. But he nodded. Yes. That should have been the end of it. Instead, Alina leaned back. "Perfect. We'll fix that." She turned to her team. "Bring him on stage during sound check. Let's give everyone a little entertainment." The laughter was louder this time. Daniel didn't protest. He just nodded again. Because when you've spent years being invisible, you learn that resistance only makes things worse. A few minutes later, the massive empty theater loomed before him. Thousands of seats. Bright stage lights. Endless silence. Daniel stepped onto the stage slowly, as if he were entering sacred ground. Alina stood nearby, arms crossed. "Go ahead," she said. "Sing something." His hands trembled. He hadn't sung in front of anyone since, no. He pushed the memory away. "I don't know what to sing." "Anything. Or can you only hum?" More laughter. Daniel closed his eyes. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then he took a breath. And sang. The first note wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. But it was pure. Deep. Rich. Aching. The kind of voice that feels like it's carrying stories inside it. Everyone stopped smiling. The sound expanded through the empty theater like warm light filling a cathedral. It wasn't just technically perfect, it was human. Fragile. Powerful. Alive. A stage technician slowly lowered his headphones, eyes wide. Alina's expression shifted from amusement to confusion. Daniel kept singing. Each note climbed higher, stronger, revealing control and emotion that professionals train years to achieve. His voice cracked once, not from weakness, but from feeling, and somehow that made it even more beautiful. By the time he reached the chorus, the room was completely silent. No phones moving. No whispering. No laughter. Just listening. Then he hit a note so high, so clear, so impossibly steady, that Alina's hand tightened on the arm of her chair. It was a note she had struggled with her entire career. And he held it effortlessly. When the final note faded, the silence felt heavier than any applause. Daniel opened his eyes, suddenly aware of where he was. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I didn't mean to." No one spoke. A sound engineer wiped his eyes. Someone else clapped once, hesitant, almost unsure if they were allowed. Then another. And another. Soon the entire crew was applauding. Not politely. Not awkwardly. But fiercely. Daniel looked overwhelmed, like he wanted to disappear. Alina didn't clap. She stared at him, her face unreadable. "Where did you learn to sing?" she asked quietly. He hesitated. "My mother used to sing while she cooked. I just copied her." "No lessons?" He shook his head. "No training?" Another shake. Her jaw tightened. "Why aren't you on a stage?" Daniel looked down. "I was," he said softly. The room stilled again. "I had a small record deal. Nothing big. Then my wife got sick. Treatment was expensive. I missed tours. Missed deadlines. Eventually, they dropped me." He shrugged, as if describing the weather. "She passed away anyway. No one moved. I had bills. No degree. This job was available. It pays enough to keep a roof over my daughter's head." He smiled faintly. "She likes that I work here. Says I'm part of the magic." A sound technician turned away, pretending to check equipment. Alina's voice was different now. "And you just stopped singing?" Daniel nodded. "Some dreams don't fit into survival." That hit harder than any note he'd sung. Alina looked at the empty seat stretching into darkness. Then back at him. "Sing again." He blinked. "Ma'am?" "Sing." But this time, she hesitated. "Sing for real." Daniel didn't understand what that meant. But he nodded. He sang a song about loss. About love that doesn't end when a person does. About a father trying to stay strong for a child who still believes everything will be okay. His voice broke halfway through. He didn't stop. By the final verse, several crew members were openly crying. Alina's mascara had smudged, though she didn't seem to notice. When it ended, she stood slowly. "Leave us," she told the team. The room cleared quietly. Only the two of them remained on that enormous stage. "You know," she said after a long silence, "I started singing because my father used to play piano every night. When he died, I kept performing. Bigger venues. Bigger crowds. Louder applause." She laughed softly, but it sounded hollow. "And somewhere along the way, I forgot why I started." Daniel didn't speak. "You didn't," she said, looking at him. "That's why your voice sounds like that." He shifted uncomfortably. "I'm just a janitor." "No," she said firmly. "You're a singer who took a different job." She turned toward the empty theater again. "Stay for tonight's show." His eyes widened. "I can't. I'm working." "You are working. For me." He didn't understand until she added. "You're opening." Daniel felt like the ground had disappeared beneath him. I can't do that." Yes, you can. I'll mess it up. Good, she said. Perfect is overrated. 3 hours later, the theater was packed. Thousands of fans chanting Alina's name. Backstage, Daniel's hands shook so badly he could barely hold the microphone. I don't belong here, he whispered. Alina placed a hand on his shoulder. Neither did I. The first time. She smiled, not like a superstar, but like a human being. Go sing for your daughter. The stage manager signaled. The curtains opened. Daniel stepped into blinding light. For a moment, the noise of the crowd crashed over him like a tidal wave. Then, silence. He remembered his daughter's face. He remembered his wife's laugh. He remembered his mother singing in the kitchen. And he sang. Not perfectly. Not flawlessly. But honestly. And honesty travels farther than perfection ever will. By the end of the first verse, the crowd leaned forward. By the chorus, thousands of phone lights flickered on. By the final note, the entire theater was on its feet. Daniel stood there, stunned, tears streaming down his face. Backstage, Alina watched with her hand over her mouth. When she stepped on stage afterward, she didn't start with her usual opening line. Instead, she said, Tonight, you didn't come to hear the best singer in the building. She gestured toward Daniel. You already did. The roar that followed shook the walls. Months later, a video titled Janitor's Voice Shocks Superstar had over 200 million views. Daniel signed a modest record deal on his terms. He still worked part-time at the theater for a while. Just until things feel real, he said. His daughter sat front row at every performance. And Alina? She started closing every concert with a duet. Not because she needed him. Because she remembered. Remembered why she started. Remembered that greatness isn't about being above people, it's about lifting them. And if this story touched you even a little, tap like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that hidden voices are everywhere. Microphone sparkles because sometimes the person the world ignores is the one it needs to hear the most. And sometimes, the janitor was never meant to clean the stage. He was meant to own it. Dizzy.